Today is Sunday, November 25th, 2012, and this is Vital Weekend Update with Drake. Drake, we're ready when you are.
Okay. As everybody knows, or should know by now, the ideology of this program is very simple. It's called freedom, and the manner in which to get there has been a long and winding road, to say the least. I've been kind of winging it in some ways, and by winging it, I don't mean coming up with my ideas about what's going on or what I've been told. I've been having to wing it the last, probably 3 weeks in terms of filler material to an extent. But the reason I did that and the manner in which I did it was for a specific reason. It leads up to some of the intel that I've got for today that I think you're going to just love. Now, Denise mentioned get you paper and pencil. Well, I'm going to tell you to get you a roll of toilet paper. You're going to need it because some of the stuff I got is going to ratchet things up a few notches at the very minimum, at the very least. There's a lot of things going on, and I will get into those when I start doing some of this monologue I've got. It's a little bit long, but today's show covers two basic things that you need to know, and I will respectfully request that you pay very close attention to what is going on. The integrity of what it comprises itself of, and all the other little goodies we put in the stew. Who we got for guests today, Denise?
We have Teri Hinkle with us, and she is going to, after we speak with Teri for a moment, first let me welcome you, Teri, to the program. Your mic is open.
Hello.
Welcome, Teri. Welcome. So happy to have you with us again today. And Teri will be bringing on a gentleman by the name of Dennis Shoki. And Dennis will be with us shortly as soon as Teri makes a couple of announcements and I share some information with everyone. We're going to let you go ahead, Teri, and say what needs to be said.
All right. Here we go. Good day, America and the rest of the world. I'm honored to be here to share with you what will be a historical event. Last week, I spoke to you about the massive response in all 50 states to the petitions on the White House Gov site on the subject of secession. Even mainstream media was covering it, which, as you all know, is quite a feat, to say the least. I was wholeheartedly in favor of signing those petitions. I signed myself. Not because I want to see our constitutional republic dissolved, but because I want to see it restored and repossessed. Our federal government seceded from us a long time ago. How is it that America didn't recognize 4 years ago during the health care debates when congressmen and women admitted over the airwaves that they don't have time to read the laws they pass? Or when they said, well, we don't follow the Constitution anymore. Who cares about that? And how could any intelligent American remain silent and docile when Nancy Pelosi announced to Congress, you have to pass it to find out what's in it? How is it that America allowed another election to reseat those people who have told us in perfectly good King's English that they feel they are above the law, that they are better than us, that they don't have to abide by the law, but we do, that they have the right and the power to force laws on us that we don't want? Is America brain dead? No. I say no. America is not brain dead. America is divided, distracted, and indoctrinated. Okay, America's dumbed down to boot, but that can certainly be remedied. America is paying attention to non-issues, issues that have no place in government. issues that belong in churches, synagogues, mosques, and in families. We've been carefully brainwashed to pay attention to issues which are not the venue of government to address, such as race, abortion, morality, housing, health care, etc., while we're not paying attention to the issues which do pertain to government. While we were spending precious time attempting to force our own social views down the throats of all Americans, our government is dissolving our country and turning us over to the UN. Our president is taking part in a massive cover-up of the murder of 4 Americans, using a monumentally stupid sex, lies, and spies scandal, and that one's truly getting old. And all the while, we buy into the deliberately concocted smokescreens and enable them to divide us to the point of no return. Stop it, America. Stop it. Remember who you are. Are you a slave? Are you property of the federal government? Are you a human resource? No? Well, they sure as hell claim you are, and until you show them otherwise, they are right. Until rebutted by you and none other, their claim stands as truth. Today, we take a stand. Today, we join our voices together as one to let them know. The jig is up. We know what they're doing. We know what they have been doing. And we know that we are the bosses, not them. We know what form of government our founders established, and it's not a democracy. It's not communism, socialism, globalism, fascism, progressivism. None of those forms of government include freedom and liberty. And if you doubt that, you had better hit the history books. We are a constitutional republic, and that is exactly why, in order to conquer us, they must shred and destroy our organic constitution. It cannot speak for itself. It cannot save itself. And it cannot survive our stupidity, sloth, indifference, and irresponsibility. Our children cannot do it either because it'll be too late. And they will never know what their parents had destroyed. The time is now, right now, to discover that leader in the mirror. I've been telling you for the last 2 years to look in the mirror. Now I'm telling you how to see the leader in the mirror. You don't need your gun. You don't need to leave your home, and you don't need to march on Washington. All you need to do is listen and act, and then stand in front of the mirror and meet the leader who's been waiting for you right there in your bathroom. The following message has gone out massively viral just a few minutes ago, and I will read that message here. This message is for all Americans and all freedom-loving men and women. Sign the Declaration of Independence. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. Those are the words of Thomas Jefferson in the Declaration of Independence, 1776. And they're as true today as they were 236 years ago, and perhaps far more vital to the survival of this great nation and her people today. There's no doubt or argument that America is in the most dire and urgent of situations she's ever seen. The only thing that stands between America and total collapse and invasion by foreign intervention is her people. In a nation divided by social issues, race, faith, political ideologies, and gender, by careful manipulation and design of those in power, it is difficult to imagine a people united to one cause. There is, however, one cause, one great and irrefutable fact which binds us one to the other in America and around the globe, and that cause is freedom and liberty. All men and women are indeed created equal. All are born with unalienable rights endowed by their Creator, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. all creatures, great and small, possess the same right to freedom and liberty, to be free of tyranny and despotism. There is a great enthusiasm for the idea of secession from the out-of-control and unlawful federal government we find ourselves at the mercy of today, and there are petitions to that end on the White House Gov site. But is it really about secession? No. None truly believe the overgrown, bloated federal government will dissolve the shackles of slavery so carefully placed on us. It's not an issue of secession. It's an issue of repossession. Repossession of that which has been stolen from us, our freedom and liberty. It is not separation we must declare, but our right to exist as free men and women, the right to live as free as the lowest of creatures, and as secure in our liberties as our founders intended. This nation is nothing more and nothing less than the sum total of her people. It is time to unite under one banner and one ideal, that of freedom. It matters not your gender, your lifestyle, your political or spiritual beliefs, your color, your ethnicity, your station, or your occupation. You are either free or you are slaves, and there is no in-between. You can have freebies or you can have freedom, but you most certainly cannot have both. This great country was founded on the premise of personal responsibility and the consent of the governed. Did you consent to be taxed only to see your hard-earned money given to those who will not work? Did you consent to be told what you can or cannot teach your children, preach in your pulpits, do in your own home, or eat at your dinner table? Did you consent to having your money stolen and be given worthless pieces of paper that are nothing more than promissory notes in return? Did you consent to have your health care decisions taken out of your hands and put into the hands of people who, for the most part, are not doctors and have never held a real job in their lives? Were you even consulted? Did you consent to throwing the borders of our country wide open to floods of illegal immigrants and drug cartels? Again, were you even consulted? Did you consent to the insertion of one of the most poisonous substances on earth into your tap water simply because it renders you docile? Did you consent to the chemtrails being spread in our skies, causing mass disease to humans and animals and rendering our soil sterile and worthless for the growing of food? Did you consent to having your mortgage securitized and sold to investors so the banks could foreclose on you without a legal right to do so? Did anybody ask you if the banks, which are solely responsible for the economic collapse of our economy, should be given massive bailouts with your money, only to have that money line the pockets of their owners? Did you serve your country in the military, only to come back from a manipulated foreign war to be told you're worthless, that you're a potential terrorist and have no rights? Were you consulted before the passage of laws which require permits and licenses to do that which is guaranteed your right by our organic constitution, like traveling in your own car or putting a new roof on your house? Were you consulted when executive orders were signed, stripping your rights to free speech, religion, protest, and grievance, and due process of law? Who are these people who make these outlandish rules for you to live by? Is that what you sent them to the halls of justice and to Washington for? Have you ever read your Declaration of Independence? And if you did you understand what it means and why it was written? Have you looked to see if it's even printed anymore in your children's history books? Do you think you will remain free by hiding in your houses and waiting for some fantasy army to come and stop the madness? Have you ever seen a conquered people set free without war? What makes you think you aren't being conquered? Is America now so dumbed down and spineless that she cannot even speak up for the least among us, for freedom and liberty? Have our men become eunuchs and our women mere animals for breeding to ensure the Department of Human Resources doesn't run out of product to trade on the open market? We, the people, have never been given the opportunity to sign and ratify any of our founding documents. It never occurred to us we might need to do as our founders did and declare ourselves free. Now is the time for all men and women, regardless of race, creed, religious faith, or political ideals, to stand together, side by side, as we, the people, let them know we do not consent. You are the answer. Unite, America, and speak as we, the people. Let your voices ring to the heavens. Last week, I shared with you the fact that a notice of declaration was delivered to the world via the Office of Private International Law at The Hague last February 7th, and that you've been declared free, but you must prove it. How do you do that? Sign and ratify your Declaration of Independence, which has been updated to reflect the despotism we have been put under today. Free this nation of bondage by an unlawful corporation and foreign invaders. Do not fear signing. With the establishment of the Homeland Security Fusion Centers and the government takeover of Facebook, they already have far more information about you than even you do. Show them they have no right to it. Show them who you are. Show them nobody owns you, and you're not a human resource for them to squander. If you're hearing these words on a radio show, the host will tell you where to sign. If you're hearing these words via the YouTube and links to it, the links to the sign will be below. If you're hearing these words as a result of an email, the links are in the body of the message. Share them far and wide, because the one thing we can all agree on is that we will not be slaves to the New World Order, to the federal corporation, to any corporation, or to any man on this earth. We are Americans, and we are free. Denise will share with you right now where to sign the Declaration of Independence and where to sign the petition that is already up on the White House Gov site, letting the usurpers know they are about to be fired. Will you share those, please, Denise?
I sure will, Teri. And again, I do repeat, go viral with this. Email any groups that you're involved in, Facebook, MySpace, your friends, your neighbors. Print it out on a piece of paper off your printer and share it with friends and neighbors. Hand it to everyone. Anyway, okay, there is the full document that is posted at Soldierhugs, and if everybody get your pen and pencil ready, the full signature page is at http://www.soldierhugs, all one word, SOLDIERHUGS.com/sign, SIGN, RE declaration of independence 2012 /. Now I will repeat that one more time. It should be http://www.soldierhugs.com/sign RE declaration of independence 2012 /. Then there is the petition at whitehouse.gov. And yes, you do have to register on the site. Do not be timid about that. They have everything on every one. They have your Social Security number, your birth certificate, and everything else. You're not giving up anything they don't already have. Our goal is 25,000 signatures in record time. And we can do this, people. We can do this very easily. The petition is located at http:// and then in small letters, wh.gov/. Then all capitals, capital I, capital K, capital C. And that's it. That's a short address. The petition on whitehouse.gov is http://wh.gov/ and then in all caps IIKC.
Also, you can go to just www.soldierhugs.com, and there's a link to it on the main page. And when you sign the declaration, the actual doc itself, you will receive an email for a confirmation of your signature. Be watching for that email and click on that confirmation so that your signature will show up on the document. I don't think there's too many Americans who don't want to have their grandchildren 30, 40 years from now saying, my grandmother, my grandfather, my mom, and my dad, they signed our Declaration of Independence. And remember to check your spam folder in case you don't get your confirmation email. I know that some people's email servers automatically dump things on them. Make sure that you check around if you don't get it within your server.
Right, and Teri, I just want to share, too, it is already posted on Drake's website, AmericanNationalMilitia.com. It is also posted at our website at globalvoice2012.us. It is posted on the Universal Voice Facebook group. Everybody copies, share it on your own pages, share it in your emails. Get it out there.
Also, there is a full YouTube. Denise did a beautiful job of putting it up, in which I have read aloud the entire document, and that was done primarily for those of you who just do not like to read, but most importantly, if you are listening to this broadcast and you are blind, you can go have someone put it in the computer, the YouTube video where it is read aloud so that
Correct.
You know the contents of the document. And if you want to share that address, Denise.
Okay, it's a little bit more technical, but we'll share that. It's www.youtube.com/watch, WATCH, lowercase v as in victory, equals, and then capital H, the number 1, capital K, the number 7, capital Y, then lowercase e as in Edward, U, Z as in zebra, I, and then capital K, capital A.
And
All right.
also, if I may interject here, please, when I went to sign the declaration, all of that came up, including the video, Teri, so it'll be right there if they go to Soldier Hugs.
Right, and there are on Drake's site, on Soldier Hugs, and in the email that went out, there are links to extremely important educational material that the addendum to the Declaration was based on. It's not all of the research that was done, but it is a lot of history and factual research that you need to familiarize yourself with. And we have provided those documents, links to that information on the 2 sites and in the email that went out. Now, it's imperative that you sign both the declaration and the petition. The former is a historical declaration of your freedom, and the latter is your notice to the government that you've had enough and you are not their property. As I said at the beginning of the show, this is about freedom and liberty. It's not about me, and it's not about Drake, any prearranged plan or this show or any movement or patriot philosopher out there. It's not about forming silly shadow governments or creating one that could somehow take over when the corporation collapses, which it is in the process of doing. I know the men and women who have been doing those things believe they are doing the right thing, but they are delusional in their desperation. In the first place, the rest of America is not going to allow them to take over anything. This is America, not a banana republic that changes its dictatorial regimes like its underwear. This is a nation where the people are the boss, and the people decide who will sit in the positions of elected office. This is not a nation where a handful of zealots decide to take over. Most of those who are still engaging in such outlandish ideas are simply not qualified as leaders. The first thing we need to do is stop all lawyers and attorneys from ever again holding office, and then adopt an intense supervised exam on the founding documents and true American history, which all who wish to serve must pass with at least a 90% score before they can even run for office. That and term limits will go a very long way to help ensure this disastrous precipice is never revisited.
Yeah.
On that note, I'd like to introduce to you the gentleman who is responsible for the addendum to the Declaration and the research it was developed from, Mr. Dennis Schelke. Are you with us, Dennis?
Good afternoon, Teri, and good afternoon, everyone. Yes,
Welcome, Dennis.
Well,
Hello,
thank
Dennis.
you. Yes, folks, that's a wonderful act to follow, Teri. What an inspiration, and it's my divine pleasure to be able to substantiate the movement in this direction. One, through a book that I authored this last year titled Attorneys Above the Law, which documents what this privileged class has done to average individuals and businesses across this, driven us to literally the brink and break of insanity, and driven jobs from this country and left our deficit spiraling out of control. And yes, we no longer live literally in a democracy. I call it, we live in a hypocrisy. That is hypocrisy. But this is
Dennis,
nothing new.
Can I interject something here real quick? Aaron just told me that the server is getting overloaded, but we expected that. Tell people to be patient. The backlog on the server to sign the document is 30,000 page requests right now. So just keep trying. You will get in. Go ahead, Dennis.
Oh, thank you. That's a good sign. Hopefully we do have a lot of people that are interested and concerned at the health and vitality in the future of what our founding fathers laid forward for this country. I am sad, but at the same time happy to share my memoir of experience with personal documentation of the system that we have accurately targeted today. And Teri, I must commend you in doing a very eloquent job of laying out that speech prior. It's going to be a tough act to follow, but I think on a Sunday, I think it's very fitting to announce to anyone that's concerned enough and caring to listening on a Sunday that we are not in uncharted territories in this future, unfortunately, and I think we owe it to our founding forefathers to recognize what they put forth, that lawyers have hypocritically removed from our knowledge base and from our schools and institutions, but we're now at the forefront of the dynamic opportunity to reinstitute that in an educational process starting right here and today, all across the United States and the world to let them know that we are no longer going to be duped by this privileged class. This all goes back in the beginning of time with, if anyone would argue with this, shame on them. It all goes back to the New Testament of the Bible. In Matthew 23, when Jesus Christ himself spoke in verses 27 and 28, he says, "Woe to you, scribes, Pharisees, and hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs, which appear beautiful on the outside, but on the inside you are full of dead men's bones and every impurity. In the same way, on the outside you seem righteous to the people, but inside you are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness." So that, I think, my dear friends everywhere that are paying attention to what's going on to our morals, to the lack of balanced budgets on local, state, and federal deficits, I think we are certainly not in uncharted territories. However, it is our divine pleasure to produce to you, to the world today, acknowledgement through this declaration that we observe our founding forefathers' gracious, fought-hard efforts to instill that this would not happen to any future republic, and that being to the Republic of the United States of America, for which they provided us the original 13th Amendment to the Constitution. It started originally in 1789 to 1791, and it still is a part of our United States Constitution. If you will go to Article 1, Section 9, the very last paragraph is a basic skeleton without the force of violation added to it, which Maryland Senator in 1810 by the name of Philip Reed proposed the 13th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. It passed 87-3 in the House of Representatives and passed 19-5 in the Senate. And the journal entry in the American State Papers book, dated 1834, accurately 100% reflects the journal entry made by lawyer John Quincy Adams, who was Secretary of State at that time, admittedly lists 12 of the 17 states at that time that did ratify this Constitution to the United States. But I'm here to tell you and inform you that he lied, as lawyers have done for centuries. Why? Because of the very vital conflict of interest, to their interest in being and serving and usurping the balance of all three branches of government, meaning the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. They wanted to control all three branches of government, which they have illustriously done by proving that they have removed the 13th Amendment, the original 13th Amendment to our Constitution. And that has been the basic and the demise of the strength of this republic, for which I will be willing to toast to anyone that if that original 13th Amendment had, in fact, been recognized unilaterally all over this United States of America and by all people, this United States of America would be the most prevalent and prevail as the nation second to none, other than, like I'd mentioned in my book, Attorneys Above the Law, in Chapter 3, Alexander Fraser Tytler in 1790 so eloquently put the words to pen and paper when he listed what's called the fatal sequence of any society. When they rise out of bondage through spiritual faith and uplifting to the time that they achieve their independence and freedom, when they fall back into complacency because they learn of the democracy, how to vote themselves of a treasury. Well, I'm here to communicate and convey through my writings and through the gracious work of people like Jack Bauer and the Reconstruction Project in Fresno, California, to people like Teri Lynn Hinkle, who have so boldly recognized this very basic fact, as this is the fundamental way that this United States can right itself, yes, without shots being fired. This is the ultimate tool and ultimate weapon to equip the American people with. This is what our founding forefathers did, and this is what Teri has done today. And thank you, Denise, as well, for helping prepare this meeting. And I thank you for the opportunity to be on your show and share this opportunity today.
Dennis, I think this is the perfect time to read to the people the exact wording of the hidden 13th Amendment. They will tell you was never ratified, but it is and has been absolutely irrefutably proven that it was. Article 13. If any citizen of the United States shall accept, claim, receive, or retain any title of nobility or honor, or shall, without the consent of Congress, accept and retain any present, pension, office, or emolument of any king whatever, from any emperor, king, prince, or foreign power, such person shall cease to be a citizen of the United States, and shall be incapable of holding any office of trust or profit under them, or either of them. That, folks, is the wording of the 13th Amendment. And what does it mean? All members of the bar are accepting office, emolument, presents, and pensions from a foreign power. The bar stands for British Accredited Registry. So that is why attorneys, lawyers cannot hold office in this country. And that is why the 13th Amendment was successfully hidden from the eyes of the people.
Very good, Teri. And this is how one privileged lawyer class has taken over all three branches of government. But they must first have removed this 13th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States to do that.
And it's also mentioned, it is part of our Constitution, the nobility clause in the Constitution. The amendment was added to clarify that entry in the Constitution regarding nobility. But they couldn't have that, or they couldn't control and take over this country.
Exactly. And Maryland Senator Philip Reed made sure that if anyone were caught doing this, that's why they say in the wording that anyone caught doing this shall cease to be a citizen of the United States and no longer be able to hold office. The penalty was very clear and very stern, and we must recognize that today, because the word emolument, E-M-O-L-U-M-E-N-T, means a compensation of literally any kind or form. And you'd have to be pretty oblivious not to recognize all of the pandering, all of the money, bribery that normally associates with every public elected official position across this land today. And then all of those resulting favors that are expected once these people do become elected official positions. That's where the demise of the United States is now fallen from the graces of what our original founding forefathers appropriately intended.
Exactly. And I've said it over and over and over again. Nothing, absolutely nothing can be done to right the wrong and reverse the damage that we ourselves have sat back and allowed to happen until we, the people, take one united stand, one with another, and we forget our differences. Grab the hand of your neighbor, whether you like him or not, because he too is an American. It doesn't matter your political ideologies. It doesn't matter your faith or your station in life. All that matters is that you are a free American human being with unalienable rights that no government gives. Only your Creator gives you those. We have the same rights as a groundhog when we're born. And then we get busy giving it all away. It's time to stand up and let them know. We do know who we are. And we do know what this nation is supposed to stand for.
Absolutely. And Teri, it's my divine pleasure to offer to the world the book Attorneys Above the Law, which documents I've been told it's called on a micro-professional level, exposing what this privileged law has done. And I've also been told that literally these have become criminal RICO operatives posing as attorneys, lawyers, judges, and arbitrators. And I can certainly say, in my opinion, that is exactly accurate. And we as Americans must recognize this. But more than anything, we have to thank Teri and Denise and everyone who's worked to put this together on this whitehouse.gov site. And yes, please take the action on your own. It's very simplistic. Like Teri says, you do not have to leave your home. You do not have to go join a militia. You do not have to threaten anyone. But this is now the time to sign, put your name to that declaration, put your name to that petition. There's no easier, formidable way of addressing this. And we, the people, as the last 10 words of our very First Amendment to the Constitution very eloquently says, we have the right to address our grievances. And now is that time. And if it's not enough that Americans went through the last election that was offered between two Harvard Law University graduates, and a high percentage of Americans did not even know that, then please recognize what we've set forth, because our founding forefathers, please do research if you don't believe it. There was something called the Federalist Papers that talked about the separation of powers, checks and balances. And that's what the Declaration essentially states. When you have one, a few, or many of any one privileged law class, period, or any class, period, occupying all three branches of government, it should not take a rocket science to understand that if you make the laws, you break the laws, and you can profit in the process, and then you control, wrap it up with enforcing the laws, which what lawyers have done to us. I will offer my book, Attorneys Above the Law, anywhere in the world that America has become a gross dissident from what our original founding fathers intended for this country. So please, please act with everyone on this call. Please share this information, these links that Denise, thank you for forwarding those. Please share those to everyone today. We need that 25,000 signatures, and let's hope it hits 10 million signatures in a matter of a few days. Because please, people, show us that you care. Show us that you don't want to become another victim, as you really already are. You just don't know it to the degree and extent. And for the sake of God, please do not let happen to you what did me and my book that I documented, Attorneys Above the Law. We are more intelligent than that. And we certainly should not demonstrate that we are apathetic to the point that we will not lift a finger to go to these websites and sign the declarations and petition. Thank you.
And know this, America. If you've ever been victimized by the courts, by lawyers, had your home stolen, railroaded into jail, or your children taken from you from the state, if you've ever been screwed blue by the system, the reason for it is the hiding of the 13th Amendment. None of that could ever have happened if that hadn't been successfully hidden from all of you. We've all been lied to our entire lives, and our parents and grandparents before us. But if you doubt it, when you go to those links, and the government comes out and says, oh, we didn't hide anything, that amendment was never ratified, ask yourself this. One of those links takes you to a history book that was being used in public schools in the year 1843. And right around page 211 is where the Constitution is written. And in it is the original 13th Amendment. And then there is a letter in those links from a United States congressman. It's a short letter. If you have it handy, Dennis, I think it would be appropriate to read that letter and ask yourself, why would that congressman have written this letter if what we're telling you is not true? You have it there?
It's dated February 16th, 1994, to Dr. Trudy Peterson, acting national activist, 8th Avenue and Pennsylvania Avenue, Northwest, Washington, D.C., zip code 20408. Dear Dr. Peterson, as a result of a friend's interest, I am inquiring about the Titles of Nobility Amendment enumerated as Article 13 in the Constitution. The earlier publication and then disappearance of this amendment raises some interesting questions. It has been brought to my attention that a new report from the Civil Reference Branch claims the amendment wasn't ratified because of the ex post facto addition of 4 new states, even though all the 4 of these states published this amendment as part of the Constitution of their official publications at the time. It appears this amendment was ratified and widely accepted. It is my understanding that Gary L. Brooks, Chief of the Legal Services Staff, has been assigned the responsibility for overseeing this matter for the National Archives. I would appreciate knowing the National Archives' position on the ratification of this amendment. Thank you for your time and assistance. Sincerely, out of Texas, Lamar Smith, Member of Congress. Again, dated February 16th, 1994.
And boy, all of that should be sinking in about now.
Yes. Yes. Teri, I want to thank you, and I want to thank Dennis and remind everyone we have included in the information that went out Dennis's website, which is attorneysabovethelaw.com. And I would like to invite everyone to go there after you've signed both the declaration and the petition. And I would like to invite you to go there and check out his book. And Teri, did you have anything else you want to share? I know Drake.
Well, I really would like to extend a major appreciation and thank you for the team of people who helped me be able to bring this forward today. There was Danny in Canada, and Aaron, who is another American but living outside the United States right now, and Sue. And without them, and Denise, I could not have possibly done this. I only realized just a few days ago what exactly had to happen and how to make it happen. And it was just absolutely amazing that we were able to accomplish all that we accomplished in the last 3 days, actually. So
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. And thank you, Drake, for allowing us to bring this forward on this show on this momentous day.